Okay? I will be fast, more than quickly, fast. I will try to explain some things different of those that Octavio Puche explained about the history of our district. But the first thing that we need to know is we have 4,000 years of mining history. And this is very important to understand the history of the district, okay? In the Bronze Age, the Argaric culture came to the area and were colonizing the territory, looking for the lodes of copper and establishing several settlements, as it was Peñalosa, that was very important and has been researched for many years by a team of archaeologists from the University of Granada. It is gone. It's blocked. Sorry for the technical problems. I will try to connect with the internet to solve this. Okay. We will have not sufficient signal. What can we do? Any idea? Yes. We will try by this way. Sorry. Yeah? Mm-hmm. It is very easy to translate these findings. Eh? I will take advantage of this. We will go to have the lunch in the Hotel Aníbal. It is very easy to find the way to go there because it's going by the avenue down the town's council square. And when we arrive to a square, a new square with a miner's statue, we turn to the left and go, okay? Ah. Well, I will try. We were talking about the ancient period, no? This is a view of Peñalosa in Baños de la Encina. It is a Bronze Age settlement, and it was, as I mentioned it was studied by a team of archaeologists from the University of Granada, and we were in collaboration with them several years, especially in 2003, 2005, and 2012, when we were researching for mines that in all the area, looking for mines that could be worked in the past, okay, in the Bronze Age. We have found some of those mines, and we were researching there, measuring and establishing the real dimension of the mining workings there. Later, the next moment is a moment in which the archaeologists established the importance, the big importance of the settlement, because it is made planning, making a urban planning, okay, and establishing a real status inside all the settlement. I will not be very, I will not go to the details because we have no time, but it is very, very interesting. Sorry for the graphic processing, but the internet is not running too. Sorry. Okay. Later, Iberians worked the mines, as Octavio Puche said. I will say that I agree with him about the relief of Palazuelos. I think could be Iberians, at least as much as Romans, the miners of the relief could be. And in that period, in all the period, what happened? One civilization fight with other civilization to control the mines and to control the power, to have the power. After the Second Punic War, Romans extended the mining works and establishing mining works around Linares as well as in Sierra Morena area. We saw yesterday from El Centenillo, the Cerro del Plomo, and we were talking about the importance of this settlement. It was a very rich area, and the silver and the lead from this district was published by Plinio and Strabon and other Roman authors. They were using technology, and sometimes, as it happened in El Centenillo, they used technology to drain the mine, not only by adits going out of the mine to drain the water, including artifacts as Archimedes' screws and other that are described. But mainly there, Archimedes' screws were used as a way to drain the mine. We have found, beside the industrial settlements, mining settlements, we have found remains of the Roman period, like pottery or lamps, lucernas, but in the landscape, there are traces very clear too. For example, the trenches, no? Like the trench in the left is a long trench, Roman trench. It is located near San Ignacio shaft in the Arrayanes mine. Okay? We are going to Arrayanes mine. What happened between Romans and the establishment of Arrayanes in 1749? We don't know too much about this, but there are concessions of the royal crown gave in 1563 relating some mining areas, mining fields that were used probably in the past, before this period. But really, we are not we have not documentation about this, okay? Arrayanes was a decision of the royal crown to control the mining production in the area and to establish a mine that could have profits, at the same time to control other mines that were established here. But what happened with this? The royal crown was not allowed to have the direct control of the mine. They were all the time giving the mine to other persons that could be interested in the management of the mine. Finally, after the study of several mines, the royal crown decided the area of Arrayanes to establish this settlement, this company, public company, and they were giving it renting to several leaseholders through the next century. But those leaseholders really were interested in a fast business to obtain money very quickly, not to develop a real mining activity, plan it and control it, okay? So, the royal mine was usually badly managed, and the mining were based on a big numerous shafts, without galleries, very easy for the development. You are going down by the shaft. When you have problems with the water, you go to other shaft, and other shaft, and other one. Like the Romans, like the silex we saw before. And in 1846, there were 67 shafts. Too much. But no deep. The deeper was of 111 meters only. No galleries connecting them. And they were planning the possibility to drain by an adit. Planning. What happened was it was very, very, very difficult to have a big mine managed in this way. So Arrayanes was productive, but not so productive as it could be. Okay. The technology was something not present, not very present in the mine. There were ideas. For example, Angulo, Francisco Angulo tried to to Brog, to Linares, mechanic engineer, Venus, but we have not. We have the reference that they were thinking to do, but we have not the record of he was working here. Sometimes they were trying to apply hand-managed pumps, and they were thinking the possibility to install steam engines to pump, but really they didn't. But near Arrayanes, in a parallel vein, we found a different history, okay? The history is the Marquis of Remisa, we were talking about him this morning, owned the main part of the vein of La Cruz and Pozo Ancho. He was more a businessman than a miner manager. So he was not a very good manager for the mine, and he had problems mainly with the water to drain it. They were doing it in a very ancient idea. I will try for the graphic. Well, okay. They have they installed tornos, winches downside, and they go up by inches 36 meters. And later, a mule wing were pushing out all the water from that level to the surface. But they were working only for 91 meters. The water, only they were working in that level, not down. It was impossible to go down. They had in the mine a lot of workers, 193, but they were only using the winches in the 30 fathoms level and no more. What happened? He was really out of the business in a few years, and finally, Remisa sold the mine, and in 1848 the mine was bought by Duncan Shaw, an adventurer, a British adventurer, that in the first moment said that he was going. I am speaking about now of the end of the vein, Pozo Ancho. We visited this morning. He thought to drain the main, but in a few months he needed to ask for permission to buy a steam engine in Cornwall and to come with the engine to Linares to install in Pozo Ancho. It was installed in 1849 in Santo Tomás shaft. What happened there? They were progressing in the mine a lot. 2 years later, they installed the wind rotative engine in San Judas, and later they were extending the technology and the steam in other shafts in the vein. They were working in the north vein in the San Francisco, but later they were mainly working there, and we were moving everything in the mine, looking for the best place to work intensively. In that year, in 1867, they had a big equipment in the mine. But in Arrayanes, in 1869, there were only, for a mine with a length of near 7 kilometers, 3 windmills, mules wings. Okay? It is a great difference between the technology applied in Arrayanes, very simple, and the technology of the Industrial Revolution coming to Linares by the Linares-La Association first and Linares-La company later that were improving a lot the technology. And what happened with the other mines? They saw the situation and installed a lot of steam engines to pump and to wind from the mine the ore in a few years. In 1867, Linares was the district, the main producer district of lead in the world. Only a few years after the first pumping engine came. Arrayanes was later, but finally decided to improve the mine because they changed the manager. Genaro Vilanova decided to improve the situation in the mine, and he had an engineer from Cornwall, Bussestow, and Bussestow were to Cornwall and bought pumping steam engines in the Penryn foundry that were installed in Acosta, in Restauración, and in San Jose, the last one, and the biggest. So they changed it. They changed the situation of the mine. These are the 3 mule wings. Sorry, it is internet. But this is the following situation in Arrayanes. Look, the change. The change was really important, and Arrayanes became to be very, very, very productive in this period, okay? All the mines were successful? All the same successful? No. What happened? Some companies were fighting with the misadventure for years and obtained almost nothing. And some other companies were very successful and were working successfully the mine and the veins they had. And there is a big difference between these companies. Some of them were established successfully, and the others were established by the Taylor's family, Taylor's and Son. And sometimes they had very good investments, for example, Linares-La Mining Company in Pozo Ancho, or they had a lot of problems, like in Las Infantas mine, that was, the director was very important and an expert in our mining, that was Joseph Lee Thomas. This is an aerial photograph of Las Infantas lead mining. Several veins in the Collado del Lobo area, hills, little hills, in Guarromán, and they were working there from 1853 to 1856, only 3 years. They were looking for a very good load, and they never found it. But later, Hasselden were working there and found it in the last times of the 19th century, and the mine was successfully. The main shaft was 550 meters deep. And they found really the big load. But Las Infantas was broken and never gave to the investors any benefit. Okay. Other companies, as Buenaventura company, had a similar bad luck. They were fighting with the water. This is a case in which they were fighting with the water for 11 years. Near, just close the Guadiel River, and it was impossible. Finally, the company was unable to produce benefits and broken up 11 years later. But this is the real important thing of our district, the industrial society consolidation. But in this moment, it is important to say something. We are analyzing the history, but when we see the history, we are looking fixed photographs, not a continuous line. This is not a film. We must connect one photograph with the other to know the real flow of the history. Very important to think when we are analyzing that history and things that were happening, sometimes we need to think we need a film, not fixed photographs, okay? And as we have the time, sorry, I will stop here because the lunch is waiting for us. And if we have another moment to continue the talk, we will do, okay? Thank you very much, friends, and sorry for the technical problems.